everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel Ray, and today I'm going to show you how to choose the right size fabric for your cross-stitch design. I got a comment from a lovely viewer named Brian, and this is the comment, so you can pause and read it if you like, but basically he was saying that he purchased a pattern and he needs help determining the how much floss to get and also what size the fabric he needs, because he already has a half a yard of 14 count Aida, but he's not sure if that's going to work for the design. Now, unfortunately, the design, I looked up Silver Mist Fairy Cross Stitch by Ribbon Craft on eBay, and I did not see anything. So I'm going to show you with two examples how to determine what size fabric you need, and hopefully this will help. This is Grimm's Fairy Tales Sampler by Clouds Factory. This is available on Etsy, and it is one of the works in progress that I currently have. But this is a really good way to show you. If you go here on Etsy, scroll down to the description and press Learn More about this item. When you open this up, some designers will actually have the details of what size you need directly on the listing, but that doesn't always happen, so I'm going to show you how to determine that. Here it says that if you're using 14 count Aida, you're going to have a 14.3 by 14.3 inch finished piece. That's without any border or any finishing area, so that is just the edges of the design itself with no extras. So if you don't have this detail though, they usually will put the stitch count on the listing before you buy it. Sometimes you have to buy it first and then they will show you, but it's always a number, an X, and another number. That is width by height. So how do I figure out what size fabric I need from just those numbers? Well, I would recommend that you go to yarntree.com. Yarntree.com has a cross-stitch calculator, and this is what I use all the time. You want to put in those numbers. 200 by 200. And then you need your fabric count, which is 14. In Brian's case, he's using 14 count Aida. Aida has an X of 1, so the number of threads that each X covers is 1. Because of the weft and the weave. If you're using linen or even weave, it'll be 2. Unless you want it to be super small, but that's another thing entirely. Just for you Aida people out there, if you're going for regular 14-inch Aida. Then your extra fabric. So see how it has border and finishing fabric? Now you can adjust this as much as you want. Some people don't want any border. They just want the piece to be, the edge of the design to be right up against the frame. So in that case, you would make this 0, and then you would need extra fabric for finishing, because if you're wrapping it around a, or putting it into a frame and putting it up on the wall, you're going to need that finishing area to wrap that around the back and finish it. So I'm going to go ahead and calculate the size here, and it says that this is the stitch area. That is exactly what it will be when you are finished with the design. But with the finishing fabric, you're going to need 18.5 by 18.5 inches. So the piece that you're working with is going to need to be that big. If you want to add a border as well, let's just say we want a 1-inch border around all the sides, then it's going to be 20.5 by 20.5. I hope that makes sense. So that is the size of fabric that you're going to need for this piece. If I change the fabric count, let's say that you want the design to be smaller, then you're going to go up a fabric size. So you can go to 16 count, 18 count, or 20 count. But just know that the bigger the number, the higher the number it is, the smaller the design will be. That is universal on linen, even weave, and Aida. The higher the number you go, the smaller the design is because it's more threads in the inch. Okay, so if we do 16 count Aida, then we need 18.5 by 18.5. If you want to go to 18 count, you're going to need 17 by 17. I hope that you understand what I mean. 20 count Aida, you're going to need 16 by 16. So that is for the Grimm's Fairy Tales sampler. Quakers in Japan by Tempting Tangles. This is another piece that I have, and it's gorgeous. I love this piece. But on her website, she tells you the design size is 168 by 168. So all you need to do is go to your cross stitch calculator. You can clear that form out, put in 168 by 168, put in 14 count Aida. You can change the border and finishing size, but here it's telling me that with these extra fabric pieces, I'm going to need a 20 by 20 inch piece. The other part of his question was actually, let me bring it up again. I need to determine whether I need 1 or 2 skeins of floss for each color. That is a little bit more tricky. You would need to know how many stitches are in the design. I would just recommend that you get 2 of each. If you don't know, or you could contact the designer and ask the designer, because usually when a pattern is created, they tell you how many skeins of floss you need. But the bigger your finished design piece is, or the lower the number of threads per inch, so if you went from 14 count to 11 count, for example, you would need more floss to cover your whole project because it will be bigger than normal. If you go up a fabric count, so if you went from 14 count to 16 count, you're going to need less floss overall. But as a beginner, I would recommend that you get 2 skeins of each or contact the designer. It's probably the best thing to do. I hope that this has helped you to start your cross stitch project. If you are just a new beginner, please do me a favor. Do me a favor and start in the middle of your work. So when you have graphed out the size, you know what size of fabric that you need, start in the middle of your design, fold your fabric into quarters, and then mark that little spot in the middle and start from there on your design. That is something that I will show you in the next part of this series, which is how to start a pattern or start from a pattern in cross stitch. Because now that we've got those basics of how to make an X down, we need to know how to actually begin once we have that pattern ready for us. If you have any more questions about how to choose your fabric size for your next design in cross stitch, please leave me a comment down below. I'd be happy to help. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and I will see you all soon in my next one. Take care, guys. Bye!